In a press briefing on Wednesday, the Senate Republican Conference announced its leadership for the upcoming Congress. Senator Mitch McConnell maintained his position as Republican leader after a brief but ultimately failed challenge from Florida Senator Rick Scott. Senator John Thune of South Dakota remained Republican whip. Joni Ernst, Iowa's junior senator, won the role of policy chair, while West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito joined leadership as conference vice chair, with John Barrasso of Wyoming as conference chair. Steve Daines of Montana will take over the role of National Republican Senatorial Committee Chair from Scott.
Hello. Let everybody get in here. Well, good morning, everyone. We just had a rather lengthy, as you could tell, discussion about the way forward for Senate Republicans, and you have before you the leadership team for the next 2 years. We collectively, I think, had a good discussion about what happened in the election and what happens in the next election. And I think everybody in our conference agrees we want to give it our best shot to finish the job in Georgia and concentrate on that for the next month. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue to serve and to have this outstanding team behind me, and I'd like to call on each of them to say whatever they prefer.
Well, thank you, Leader. I too want to say thanks to my colleagues for the opportunity to continue to serve as the whip for our conference, and congratulate all of our leadership team and our new members, Steve Daines and Shelley Moore Capito. Delighted to have them on the team, and we're looking forward to the task ahead. You know, again, I mentioned this yesterday, but it's really true that we have a narrowly divided country, and they've given us a narrowly divided Congress, and the Senate is almost, well, dead even, and the House of Representatives, where we'll have some reinforcements and a majority, hopefully eventually there, will give us a check and balance against what I think are some of the more radical or reckless policies of this administration. But this team up here will be working on the priorities that I think are important to the American people, and that's their economic security, energy security, national security. I think those are the issues that are on the hearts and minds of most Americans, and we will be moving forward with a pro-growth, pro-jobs agenda in this Republican conference, and working hard to put the brakes on and stop the spending and government agenda that is being put forward by the Biden administration and their allies here in the Congress. So I'm looking forward to the work ahead, and ready to lace them up and go to work with this team and with our conference to fight for the priorities that are important to the American people.
Well, I also thank my colleagues for their vote of support to continue running as chairman of the conference. I would point out that while the leader said it was a lengthy meeting, it was also a very helpful meeting, a very productive meeting, and a very uniting meeting. And we are clearly united in our efforts to get Herschel Walker elected the next senator from Georgia. We're united in our efforts to hold this administration accountable and to continue to fight the bad things that they are doing to this country. I want to, thank Joni Ernst for the great job she has done as vice chairman of the conference over the last 4 years, and congratulate you on taking over the policy committee. I welcome Shelley Moore Capito as the new vice chairman of the conference, and also Steve Daines, my northern neighbor, Montana from Wyoming, who knows how to win tough elections and is the right person to chair the Republican Senatorial Committee.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. I am very excited to be moving forward now with this new team, and congratulations to the entire team. I am really thankful to have been able to serve the past 4 years as the Republican vice chair, the conference vice chair, and very excited about the opportunity now to serve as the Republican policy chair. And I am grateful that Shelley Moore Capito has stepped up, joined by another woman on our committee. And Steve Daines, thank you for stepping forward to serve as our NRSC chair. So as the RPC, I will be working with all of the members in our conference and presenting different ideas and entailing collaboration. And we heard a lot about that over the past several days. So we want to make sure that all of our voices are heard and their ideas are presented fairly across our conference. So I'm excited about the opportunity to work with each one of our members as we move, of course, into the next election cycle. And I know that the American people will hear our message and it will resonate with them. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon now. I'm Shelley Moore Capito, the new vice chair of the Republican Conference of the U.S. Senate. Sounds pretty good, I think. I'm very honored to serve with all of our leadership here. I would particularly like to say what an honor it will be for me to serve under the leadership of Mitch McConnell, my neighbor in neighboring Kentucky. I have a lot of admiration for his vision and look forward to carrying forward with that. The meeting we had was very interesting. It was very respectful. Sitting in that chamber, it was 50 degrees, I will tell you that. And we listened very attentively to the ideas and the desires of our members. Because after all, we're elected. Our constituency today was in that room, I think there were 48 in the room today with us. So I want to say thank you to my colleagues for inspiring me and instilling me with the confidence. So since I'm the newbie, I should be the one speaking the fewest amount of words. So I will tell all of you, thank you for what you do in covering us every day. We're going to have a unified message, a voice of which I'm going to be participating, creating that message. And I look very much forward to seeing all of you again and again and again. Thank you all very much.
Well, it certainly was an honor to be selected by my colleagues to chair the NRSC for 2024. I'm honored to be on this stage as well with a couple of my colleagues who are all part of that class of 2014. It was Joni Ernst and Shelley Moore Capito. It was a night when the Republicans picked up 9 seats and flipped the majority control to Mitch McConnell. And so I will tell you that it's very important, and my highest goal here is to ensure that we secure a strong, sustainable, lasting majority for the Republicans in 2024. And I will tell you, we are fired up, we're excited, we're going to hit the ground running, and we're going to do everything we can here to fight for every seat.
Yes, you were reelected, but this is the first challenge you have faced in 15 years as leader. 10 senators voted against you, 1 voted present. So what lesson did you learn from this, and will you change your approach at all?
Yeah, first, I don't own this job. Anybody who wants to run for it can feel free to do so. And so I'm not in any way offended by having an opponent or having a few votes in opposition. As everyone has said, we had a good opportunity to discuss various differences. People had a chance to listen to both candidates. And I'm pretty proud of 37 to 10.
Mr. Leader, can you respond to former President Trump announcing that he plans to run for re-election? And do you believe that will help or hinder your chances in the Georgia runoff?
The way I'm going to go into this presidential primary season is to stay out of it. I don't have a dog in that fight. I think it's going to be a highly contested nomination fight with other candidates entering. And it's all going to be quite good for you all to cover.
How do you think it will impact your runoff in Georgia? Do you want former President Trump to come to Georgia?
We're going to do everything we can to get Herschel Walker elected. We can't pretty well determine who's going to come in, and we'll see how that develops. Yeah.
Mr. Leader, as Monty said, first challenge in 15 years, has it made it more or less likely that you might consider stepping aside once you beat Mike Mansfield's record?
Look, I'm not going anywhere. Carl? Were you, Carl?
Yeah, so Senator, but we did hear from members that they wanted more inclusiveness, that some members feel they're being left out of the decisions, the process, the committees aren't working the way they should work. Do you think, are you going to make any changes along those lines?
Yeah, as you all know, I think a little differently from the Democrats. We meet 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, have pretty fulsome discussions. And as Senator Cornyn pointed out in the meeting, any 5 of us can call a conference to discuss any particular issue. So we acquainted our members with the tools that they have, if they have an idea they want to promote, to convene a conference, just 5 of them, for discussion. And I think that'll be used more often. I certainly welcome it. One of the nice things about being in the Senate as opposed to the House, you don't have so many people. And we're together a lot. And there are opportunities all over the place to float new ideas. I've never been opposed to it and won't be going forward.
Mr. Reader, if that's a follow-up to call in, is that to say that you are not considering any specific changes that some of these members are proposing? The 11 who didn't support you, those who are speaking to us, they want specific changes. And you're saying...
Yeah, we just talked about how we're going to go forward.
My question is,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're not negotiating any further changes in how you run a conference. Is that right?
You talked about the
But there's
election.
nothing to negotiate. We've got a tool to get together often. Yeah.
You talked about the election yesterday. Can you talk about more specifically, what lessons were learned and what you might do differently in terms of political strategy heading into 2024, or what you might advise the NRSC to do differently heading into 2024?
Our problem you're talking in the real election, November the 8th, right? Yeah. Here's the problem. We underperformed among voters who did not like President Biden's performance, among independents and among moderate Republicans, who looked at us and concluded too much chaos, too much negativity, and we turned off a lot of these centrist voters, which is why I never predicted a red wave to begin with, if you all recall. I said all along this is going to be close. In the poll data we had in the states that we were trying to win, which is the ones we currently had, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, Missouri, this was a problem in all of them. It wasn't fatal in but one of them, and that was Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz was trying to run as a moderate, trying to appeal to those voters in Bucks and Chester County surrounding Philadelphia. That message got muddled at the end, which made it very difficult for him to achieve success. We had the same problem in Nevada, which is our best pickup opportunity. It reflected itself in Georgia as well, but fortunately, I didn't used to like the runoff in Georgia. All of a sudden, I like it a lot better than I used to. We got a second chance in Georgia to get it right, but that was the problem. The base turned out. We had significant Republican base turnout. We have a problem with people in the middle who still, even though there's not as many of them as there used to be, determine the outcome. Yeah, Bert?
How do you assess the NRSC's performance under Rick Scott, and will there be changes under Chairman Daines?
Yeah, that's up to Steve. I don't intend to assess the performance at all. I think, Steve, I don't know if you want to address anything about your plans for the future or not.
Well, other than there have been plenty of Monday morning quarterbacks and pundits. We're looking forward, and we're going to learn. There's be lessons learned, certainly, from this last cycle. You always learn a lot, and we'll take those lessons learned and apply them going forward.
Leader McConnell? Has there been, in your view, I guess to follow up on the earlier question, what's your assessment right now of the health of the Republican Party? Is the party divided?
Well, look, I was here in 08. Talk about getting clobbered. There were 40 of us, 40. It took us 6 years to crawl out of the hole after the 08 election. I'm disappointed in the outcome this year, but 50 is a hell of a lot better than 40. And so it's still a 50-50 country. They've given us a 50-50 government again. I think what the public is going to be looking at is whether or not this narrowly divided Congress can accomplish anything that does them any good in terms of their lives. And so my message to the administration, and you saw some of it this year, let's find some things between the 40-yard lines that we can agree on and do them. And we did some of that this year: infrastructure, CHIPS, school safety, mental health. We need to make some progress for the American people, but it's going to have to be in the political center. If the House becomes Republican, there's no more one party running over us like they did through reconciliation. No more $1.9 trillion spending spree, plus another 750 in August that sent inflation through the roof. That's over. So my message to the president is, let's talk about doing some things that make progress for the country that we can agree on.
Mr. Leader, you mentioned that you have a second chance to get it right in Georgia. What do you think is the quickest lesson that your party can take away from just this past election ahead of that runoff? And I know you don't want to get into the politics and the presidential announcement with Trump, but the timing of the announcement. I certainly talked to a lot of Republicans here on Capitol Hill that take issue with the timing, saying that the focus needs to be on Georgia right now. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't have any comments about the timing of that. With regard to Georgia, we underperformed among centrist voters, independents, and moderates in Georgia. We need to try to do better in the runoff. And as I said, all of a sudden I'm a fan of the runoff. We've got another chance to get it right. And that's job one for us. 50 is better than 49, and we're going to give it everything we got. I'm going to take one more.
Mr. Leader,
Yeah.
Senator Cruz said that you all had a very vigorous discussion about the debt limit over the last 2 days.
No, we didn't talk about the debt limit.
Are you going to seek concessions from the Biden administration in order to...
That's one of the big things we'll be discussing. And it, once again, is a matter that will have to be dealt with on a bipartisan basis. The conditions upon which it's dealt with is something we always discuss every time it comes up. Thank you all.